Jungkook never gets soft when they do it like this. Perhaps softer, for a while, but then he just continues building up another. It's been a long time since they gave each other this attention, like real attention, and it's fantastic and very hot. I'm gonna find our bed now, Taehyung says slowly, like the sound of that. Jungkook smiles. But then something shifts in his face and it's enough for Taehyung to pick up on it. He stalls slightly, being on his way to the bedroom. Jungkook absent-mindedly pulls his heart a couple of times before throwing out a hand a bit apologetically. I realize this is an ill-chosen moment, but Taehyung sighs and stops completely, reading Jungkook like an open book. Cookie, he asks, although he knows what's going on in his head right now. I'm sorry, you wanna talk? Now Jungkook reaches for his t-shirt and boxers, and that's kind of answer enough. Taehyung sighs again, but mirrors Jungkook and slowly starts to get dressed. Only boxers and t-shirt, he as well. There's no point in trying to talk Jungkook out of this. They've gotten off and are, at least partially, satisfied for now. And Jungkook may not be wrong in wanting to get this over with. There are quite a bunch of things to sort out, to be honest. Yeah baby, of course we can, Taehyung therefore says and starts to walk towards the kitchen. Someone Jungkook smiles softly, fondly, and nods, heading in the other direction, to their living room. Carrying 2 glasses and a bottle, Taehyung enters the living room 2 minutes later, slumping down next to Jungkook in the sofa. Taehyung pours the wine in silence, but when he hands over 1 glass to Jungkook, Jungkook whispers, "Thanks babe, I really appreciate this." Taehyung knows he does, and he appreciates this moment as well. Even if it obviously is uncomfortable to finally dig deeper into their recent hiccups, it's really no meaning in putting this conversation on hold. He had looked forward to making love to his boyfriend very much, though. Very much. Jungkook's phone beeps. Once, then once more. Then it starts to ring. This late Taehyung mutters, taking a sip from the wine, and Jungkook groans unimpressed, leaning forward to where his phone is on the coffee table. He grunts and grabs the phone, swiping to answer it. Who is it? Taehyung would very much like to know. Justin? What's up? Jungkook answers the phone without acknowledging Taehyung's question. But Taehyung can detect worry in his voice, and perhaps he shouldn't be so prickly about it. What? Jungkook exclaims into his phone and closes his eyes, a deep wrinkle popping up between his eyebrows. It's like he turns the screen towards himself and checks the time. 11. There's nothing we can do right now, anyway. Oh. They've got to be kidding, right? Hold on. He mutes himself and looks straight at Taehyung, looking very small and helpless, and Taehyung just can't believe what is actually happening here right now. Not knowing exactly what's going on, he can still get the gist of it. What is the only word he manages to spit out, and Jungkook shrugs visibly. My management has asked for an emergency meeting. Like, now. Justin doesn't know what it's about either, he sighs. This is horrific timing, obviously, and I would have told them the hell off, but they've put a red flag on it and my contract. I need to attend red flag meetings, no matter what. I'm getting a deja vu moment here, Jungkook. Me too. So, what's the plan? I'm gonna need to go in to the office. Justin is picking me up in 10, he can't be in a state to drive yet. Half a pint at the pub. We got interrupted, remember? I didn't drink more than that either. Oh. Taehyung snorts, shaking his head slightly. Interrupted? By me? I'm so sorry, Cookie, That I interrupted your date with Justin? Shut up, Taehyung. You know that's not how I meant it. I really think you need to work on your communication skills. Taehyung just can't help himself. He's so disappointed. That may be so. You're probably right. But right now, it's really not much I can do about this shitty situation. You understand that, right? I'm not choosing this. I'm forced to go. Your management is nothing without you. You could work around this, should you really want to. You know how these things work. Why are you still pushing? I'm saying it because I believe it's the case. Jungkook gives him a hard stare, slowly shaking his head, and just as slowly, but very clearly, building up his bad mood. Indirectly not believing me, then? Is that what you're saying? That I'm going away now because I chose to? Want to? Even Taehyung just stares back at him, doesn't know what to think, to be honest. He understands where Jungkook is coming from, but this is starting to get ridiculous. It's Friday night, it's 11 in the evening, who even calls for a meeting now? And he knows Jungkook's team has shown to be more flexible in allowing than, for example, Taehyung team has been throughout the years. Jungkook should be able to put his feet down. Tell them to take the meeting tomorrow. I just didn't hear you ask them to do this tomorrow, or any other time, really? You just seem to accept it a bit easy, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's kind of hard knowing your priorities right now, to be honest. Tae, what? Jungkook raises his voice, clearly upset now, but Taehyung won't shut up. He just can't. Last time we tried to have some time together, it ended up the same way. Interrupted, Taehyung blurts out, frustrated and disappointed, more in the situation than in Jungkook, obviously. And we haven't even started to talk things through yet. We need to try and sort out this mess we've put ourselves in. Are you going to leave in the middle of it this time around as well? Letting out a frustrated groan, Jungkook throws out his hands. Don't you think I know this, Taehyung? And I said I can do shit about it, and now he's shouting. Unusually so, because normally he keeps his cool, maybe raises his voice, maybe gestures a bit more wildly. But shout? That he only does when being extremely agitated. It makes Taehyung uneasy. It doesn't feel good, or right, at all. We clearly don't understand each other right now, he says, trying to calm down a bit. Hell, it feels like we don't even want to reach out to each other. Jungkook, this is killing me. It's killing me too, he's still shouting. And then he looks at his phone, stressed out about the time, and Taehyung knows when a battle is lost. He stands up and puts down his glass on the coffee table. Go on then. You don't wanna be late, Taehyung mumbles, knowing Jungkook already is. Because of this stupid argument. Another argument. They do seem to pile up lately. Jungkook stands up too, looking a bit lost, searching for Taehyung eyes. You may wanna finish that. Taehyung points at Jungkook's phone, where Justin's call is still active, still muted. Ok. Jungkook blurts out and unmutes it and puts the phone to his ear. Justin? Are you still there? Huh? No. I'm okay. Yeah, he's fine. Outside? Okay. I'll be right there. Jungkook chooses to not look at Taehyung when he ends the call and hurries over to where his jeans and socks lie discarded on the floor. Then he rushes to their bedroom and then into their bathroom, and Taehyung sinks down in the sofa again, closing his eyes and leaning his head against the backrest. Jungkook is packing. He's packing, probably for a day or two away. But it's still too long, and it honestly couldn't have come at a worse point than right now. He has his overnight bag slung over his shoulder when he comes back out in the living room, and he stays in the door frame, guarding a hand through his hair uncomfortably. "Tae, I love you," he says, barely audible. "I love you too." Taehyung actually sobs it out. It just hurts. It hurts so much, everything. "But Tae, if you can't support me in this, in my album, in my career, not even the slightest bit, I just don't see how we are ever going to understand each other. You know what I mean? We don't have time to talk this through right now." Letting out a deep sigh, Jungkook looks defeated and mumbles, "I don't even know if I wanna talk this through with you anymore. Now, or ever." His voice is weak, but the message is all too clear, and Taehyung still has his eyes closed, and he keeps them that way. It's burning behind his eyelids because he's so awfully confused. Like, what is Jungkook saying? Correct him if he's wrong, but it does sound like some sort of closing from Jungkook. What is he doing? "I'm going on a promotion tour, just after our holiday." Hell, I'm going on a bloody world tour a few months after that. At the same time as you're going back into the studio. We've talked about this challenge, but I really don't think we've talked about it enough. Can you tell me how the and me is going to work then, if this is how you handle the pressure of work peaks, and hanging out with other people? Hell, there's no answer to that, and he's not even sure Jungkook is expecting one. "So, what are you saying, Cookie?" Taehyung says instead, carefully, because he's starting to feel quite afraid of what's going to come out of Jungkook's mouth next. "Is it a dead end?" For us, shrugging, Jungkook moves from one feet to the other. Stressed, but clearly not ready to leave Taehyung like this. "I don't know. It feels shit right now." Taehyung interprets that as that he thinks that it's the relationship that is shit, and well, he probably can't but agree. It's been shit for a while, and whilst Taehyung been hoping that they will be able to piece it back together with some help of a joint holiday and some better communication, it suddenly dawns on him that he really hasn't got a clue what Jungkook hopes for or has been hoping for lately. Perhaps his thoughts have gone in the exact opposite direction? What if he's felt for some time already that there's no point for them anymore? He closes his eyes again, feeling like he just wants to flee. Wanting to cut this evening out of their lives and start all over again. Well, yeah. It feels fucked. "I agree with you," he mumbles. "Perhaps there's no point in this. In us." Taehyung isn't sure if Jungkook hears him or not, but he isn't replying, and that can only be interpreted as in him agreeing. There's no point. Jungkook's phone vibrates angrily in his hand, but Taehyung can tell that he's ignoring it. "Right. So, goodbye, Tae," he says instead, and Taehyung stubbornly, and probably a bit childishly as well, puts his hands over his closed eyes. He can't deal with this. He doesn't want to. If this is what he thinks it is, he just wants to die. There's a buzz in his ears and he feels sick to his stomach. He just wants Jungkook to leave so that he can break down alone and in peace. "Aren't you going to say anything?" Jungkook's voice is lower. No. He's not going to say anything. And he's not going to open his eyes either, because he doesn't want Jungkook to see the tears hiding, burning, there. He's never been afraid to show himself vulnerable in front of him, but this is something completely else. This is him desperately trying not to break into 1,000 pieces before Jungkook's left their home. When Jungkook quietly says goodbye and leaves, the first thing that comes to Taehyung's mind is, why didn't I fight? Why didn't he fight more, for Jungkook, or for their relationship? But then he realizes why. It's because he's not even sure himself that there is a way of solving this mess. It feels like they've pretty much been sticking their heads in the sand up until now, thinking that everything's going to work out and that they'll deal with possible challenges along the way. The truth is, they aren't going to see each other much the coming year ahead. They've got their 2-week holiday, but that's about it. Is this a reaction to the fact that they've got a very bumpy future ahead of them, and that they subconsciously already fear that the battle about their relationship is lost? Taehyung honestly doesn't know. What he does know, though, is that he may just have lost Jungkook. It feels unreal and wrong even thinking it, but the words keep occupying his mind and he grabs the wine bottle and drinks straight from it. It's not usually something he does, trying to numb anxiety with alcohol. But if there's one time he's going to do it, it's now. When he's finished the bottle, it's midnight, and he fumbles for his phone, realizing that Lee and Stan and Young all have tried to get hold of him multiple times.